had a few questions regarding the nutrition plans and the training programs that I offer, or that we offer as part of our training company. And I just thought it'd be easier to do a little video answering some of the frequently asked questions to give you an insight into what the plans include, how much and what's expected of you and me, etc. On those plans. This is really useful for people that are thinking of potentially signing up now or after lockdown, or even for people that have been part of the plan before and are wanting to rejoin, because there have been some changes due to lockdown and us having to change procedures and things like that. So prior to lockdown, everybody would come for a face-to-face consultation or an online consultation via video message or FaceTime if you weren't in the local area. For those people that were in the local area, you'd come and see me for your face-to-face consultation, and we'd do a full set of body composition measurements, which included tape measure measurements, heart rate, blood pressure, skin fold calipers to see body fat percentages, etc. Now, due to lockdown, we had to change that process because obviously we can't see people face to face at the moment, and the amount that I'm going to be able to see people face to face ongoing is going to be reduced due to carrying a baby, and obviously I'll have a newborn at some point, so I'm going to have to spend more time at home. So it's been a really natural transition really from the old way of working to a new way of working. So what happens now is, upon sign up, obviously the first thing that happens is somebody will get in touch normally and ask how to sign up, what it involves, etc. The sign up process involves me obviously sending you a link to purchase the membership. Membership's £30 a month for the nutrition side of things. It's also £30 a month for the training side of things. So if you do one of the services on their own, it's £30. If you do them both combined, it's £60. So if we think about £30 a month for nutrition, it's less, if not equal to, what you'd be paying at Slimming Worlds or Weight Watchers or something like that. But in my opinion, you're getting a much more valuable service. You're not just one of many across the country on a plan that comes to weigh in once a week. You're coached personally by myself throughout your full journey. Now, there's no minimum or maximum time you have to sign up for, so it's £30 a month. Some people might come for 3 months, learn absolutely everything they need to learn about nutrition, be able to manage everything really healthily themselves, and they may get to a point where I say, look, you're ready to be signed off, you don't really need my help and support anymore, you're just staying accountable to me, but you know, everything you manage, I'm limited in the advice that I can give you now because you're managing everything. Some people, however, might stay with me for 2 years or more because their habits are much harder to break, and we have to work one layer at a time to kind of reprogram new habits and things. So there's no minimum and no maximum amount of time that you can stay on program for. You can even pause your membership or your program, say if you're going working away for a period of time or something's happening in your life and it's just not a main focus for you. It's a really flexible membership scheme. So it's £30 a month, no minimum, no maximum amount of time. You can come and go as you please. Obviously the longer you stay, the more progression you're going to make, and the more accountability you'll have. But I appreciate that people have other outgoings and things like that. But if you think it's the same price as Slimming World or Weight Watchers, most people won't think twice about giving a £5 a week for somebody to weigh them in. But you say £30 a month and people think, can I really justify that on my nutrition? Yeah, you absolutely can. You'd spend more than 30 quid on a takeaway. I bet you spend more than 30 quid a month on booze. I bet you spend more than 30 quid a month on junk food and stuff. So it's a really valuable investment into yourself. Once you've committed and you're on the program, I'll send you a link to sign up. That link will take you straight to our website, and as part of the sign up process you'll be asked to fill in a medical background on yourself, and that's to make sure that we're considering everything as part of your nutrition or your training plan. For nutrition, it's really important to know your medical background because not all nutrition plans are created equally. You know, what one plan that suits one person may not suit another. There are certain foods that aggravate certain symptoms, and there are certain foods that alleviate symptoms. Different macro balances, so different nutrient balances are right for different types of people of different ages, etc. So the more that I can find out about you, the better. It means that the plan can be as personalised to you as possible. Once I've got all of the, I shouldn't call it boring information, but all of like your health background and stuff like that, you'll also get a questionnaire from me about your goals. It'll be, what would you love to achieve? So not would you like to have and be semi-happy with, what would you love to achieve? If I could wave a magic wand tomorrow and make that happen, what would that be? What dress size? How would you look? How would you feel? What sort of clothes would you wear? What sort of things would you be doing on a day-to-day basis? So having to think about goals that you want to achieve. Over time I can help you make them more specific, but it's really good for me to know at the outset what you'd love to achieve. As part of that questionnaire, I'll also ask you things like, where are your self-confidence levels on a scale of 0 to 10? Where's your health? Where do you rate your health and fitness now on a scale of 0 to 10? It just really gives me a gauge of where your head's at the moment and where your confidence is at, and then over time we can do little check-ins to see, actually, are we improving those scores? Is your self-confidence improving? Is your health improving? Etc. Because sometimes we don't always recognise those improvements over time, so it's good to have those check-ins. So I do obviously your medical background check, but then also more of a personal background check of what you'd like to achieve. Once I've got that information, I will ask you to take, because I can't do them in person now, your baseline measurements, we call them. Now, you can pick up a tape measure from most convenience stores. I think I got mine from £2 from the shop round the corner, like a sewing tape measure. So a tape measure and a set of bathroom scales. Now, you'll hear quite a lot that the scales don't give you a true reflection of your progress, which is absolutely true. But we need some sort of measure. So the scales do give us a measure. To a lot of my clients, I do recommend a specific brand of scale, which are more expensive than your normal bathroom scales, but I've tried and tested lots and lots of different body fat scales, and I've finally found a set of scales that give very, very similar readings, body fat readings, to the skinfold caliper method that I use. And they're a set of scales that will measure your muscle mass, your body fat, your visceral fat, which is the fat that you carry around your organs. It will measure your protein levels, your water levels, etc. The scales that a lot of clients are now using allow us to add us each other as friends on an app, and I can see each of your weigh-ins. I can see if your weight's going down in the right areas and up in the right areas and things like that. So the new process means we can manage absolutely everything online and from a distance, which is great. It means you don't have to come to meetings with myself, you don't have to take time out of your schedule to come and get weighed in and face the embarrassment of getting half stripped off for me to go around you with a tape measure and pinching and things like that. So that's what we do to start the process. Once I've got a set of baseline measurements for you, I'll then be able to look at the goals that you have in mind versus where you are now and tell you whether that's realistic or not. Okay, some women have this magical number of the wanting to be 9 stone. It's almost like plucked out of the air. They want to be 9 stone. Once I run my calculations at my side based on your height, your age, etc., I'll be able to tell you what the optimum weight range would be for you. So I may have to say to you, that weight goal isn't really that realistic, or actually you're selling yourself a little bit short. If your goal's to be 13 stone, your optimum might be to be 10 stone. And I'll be able to say, we could be setting our sights a little bit more challenging because, we could potentially get you to this. But I'll be able to then at least give you something to aim for, a realistic goal to aim for. From the figures as well, if you do use the scales that I recommend, I'll be able to see what needs to be worked on. For a lot of women, we want to lose weight, but our main problem is we're not carrying enough muscle mass, which means we don't feel very toned, we don't feel very athletic, and we feel like we've got wobbly areas under the arms and things like that. So I'll be able to give you more guidance on, actually, is it losing weight that we need to focus on, or is it a little bit of both, of swapping body fat and gaining some muscle, etc. And we can get really specific then. And then once we've done your baseline measurements and we've got some rough goals initially to get you started with, I can then provide a calorie intake that's going to help you get towards those goals, and I can provide a set of meal plans to get you there as well. The meal plans will hit your calories and your macro balance perfectly, but it's not as restrictive as you have to stick to this or you're not going to get the results. You're welcome to use those guidelines to experiment with your own recipes and your own foods as well. You can mix and match different recipes together, etc. So there's a few different ways we can work with it. Your plan will also be personalised, like I said earlier, to any medical medical issues you might have. So I have clients that have got Crohn's disease, that have got ME or fibromyalgia, clients with diabetes or going through the menopause, with polycystic ovaries or endometriosis, etc. There's lots and lots of different health concerns that people come with, and in some ways there are diets that are better for some ailments and worse for them as well. So through trial and error, we can then find the balance that works for you. A ketogenic diet might be best on paper for some people, but if that diet then makes you go and binge on carbohydrates every weekend, then it's having, you know, an adverse effect. So it might take us some time to find the right balance of foods for you, but because we put you on the right calorie balance initially, it gives us a little bit of time to still get results while still trying different approaches in terms of macro balance, to see what suits you best and what you're actually going to be able to sustain for a longer period of time. Okay, it's not a 21-day fix or a 6-week fix or a 12-week fix, etc. I'm not a massive believer in those sorts of schemes. Reason being is by putting a time scale on it, you're giving something a deadline. The way that I like to approach nutrition with my clients is that we're trying to reprogram bad habits that you've had for a lifetime, which is going to take longer than 21 days or X amount of weeks, etc. And we might have to work through them one by one. We're trying to reprogram them so the new you of the future has a completely new set of habits that you can sustain for the rest of your life, that are happy, that make you happy and healthy. It's not just a quick, you know, drop a few pounds. We do have plans like that we can do, and it's mainly for athletes that need to drop into a weight class very, very quickly, but we normally only prescribe that sort of plan for somebody who's been able to be strict with their diet for a period of time. So I would only really consider coming on plan if you're ready to try and change your lifestyle for good, rather than it being just a quick fix. Okay, once you've had your meal plans and your calorie guidance from me, you'll then be asked to keep a food diary on an app for me. The app's absolutely fantastic. It's called MyFitnessPal. It's free. You can pay for an upgraded version, but we've never really needed to do that. Again, you can add me as a friend on the app and I can see everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. That frightens some people, that I can dip in, and it's normally fear of getting told off for doing something you shouldn't, or fear of actually seeing yourself, what damage you're doing to yourself. What I would say is you've got to take control at some point. You've got to start being accountable to someone if you can't be accountable to yourself. There's absolutely no judgment on my part if I see any treats or cheats in people's diaries. It's just information for me to work with, and we work on one bad habit at a time. I never ever aim to completely remove everything fun and enjoyable from your diet. There's got to be balance, but a lot of people don't have balance. They've completely lost moderation. And it's my job to help them just to rein in that moderation and to get the results that they want while still living, you know, a nice life and having some things that you enjoy from time to time, etc. So you'll log every day. You'll go away and just experiment with your plan and see how you get on. You'll then get a message from me every Sunday or every Saturday or Sunday asking you to complete a weekly reflection, and this will have things like where are you seeing success and why, what isn't working for you right now, what's causing you distractions, and what obstacles have you got at the minute, and there's about 10 questions that I ask people to fill in. And the reason I ask this is it's really useful for me to see what else is going on in your life. If I know that you've got a parent in the hospital who's really poorly and you're grabbing convenience food at the hospital, etc., I can give you the best possible advice on what sort of things to do and have. Or if I can see that you're having some stressful situations at work and that's driving you to open a bottle of wine when you get home, etc., we can start to work on, you know, what can we do to resolve some of the stressful situations. So it differs from Slimming World and Weight Watchers, and I call those out because they're the longest standing kind of household names. There's no disrespect to them, but rather than it just being a weekly weigh-in and follow this diet, it's right, what's going on in your life and how is that affecting your behaviour when it comes to your diet. Sometimes there's allowances and I'll say, you know what, your diet's not important this week, you've just lost a parent, or you've got somebody in hospital, etc. Give yourself a break. Or I might say, right, you know, every time such a body pisses you off at work, you use that as an excuse to have a takeaway and 2 bottles of wine. And, you know, how long is that going to continue before we either resolve the conflict or resolve the emotional triggers of eating and drinking from that conflict, etc. So the weekly reflection really helps me to delve a little bit deeper, to prescribe additional holistic exercises really to try and help you overcome some of your bad habit behaviours, and we progress over time through different areas of your life, and we'll make sure that there's fewer and fewer things that are able to throw you off your diet. In addition to the weekend email you'll get from me, you'll also get a message every Tuesday reminding you to weigh in on a Wednesday. Scientifically proven Wednesday is the best day to weigh in. I have a little blog on why, so feel free to have a little look at that. But I'll send you a reminder to weigh in on a Wednesday. If you have the jazzy body fat scales that I've recommended, you'll send me a screenshot, or I'll just dip in on the login if you've added me as a friend and see where your measurements are going. And I'll be able to give you some hints and tips on, you know, it should be moving a little bit quicker in this direction, or actually you've had a fantastic week and everything's moving where we need it to. And once a month you'll also get a reminder to take some tape measure measurements, some before and after pictures. You don't have to share the pictures with me, they're not really for my viewing. It's more so people don't like taking pictures at the beginning of a journey, and then when you're 6 months in and you feel fantastic, you think, oh, I wish I'd have compared my past self to my now self. So I'll send you little reminders like that as well. Now, what I also offer is face-to-face Zoom or FaceTime calls for people. Some people like one weekly, some people like them monthly. Some people don't need to see me at all, and they just like the little check-ins and they're off. So it is tailored towards whatever you need, really. What we do find is the odd person won't complete a weekly reflection, or they won't check in. And it can make some people uncomfortable being accountable to somebody, but ultimately you need, like I've said before, you need to take control of your health, and why not let an expert help guide you through that? If you're not wanting to check in, or you're not wanting someone to view your food diary, it's almost like you've already accepted that you're going to fail, so what's the point? So have a little think about, are you emotionally ready for somebody to give you help and advice, or are you going to get defensive and make excuses to, you know, why you're drinking that much or why you're eating that much, etc. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much the nutrition stuff. Sorry, a little bit of waffling there from me, but that's pretty much the nutrition side of things in a nutshell. You can request meal plans and recipes whenever you want. I normally set people off with a handful, and then when you start to get bored of the same recipes and things like that, you get back in touch to say, can I have a new set, and I'll send them across. It's not a case of me sending you fresh ones every week or every month, because everybody likes different amounts of variety. So again, it's tailored to what you want to achieve. When it comes to the training side of things, everything we do is app based, so you'll have a workout prescribed in an app. We have everything from beginners up to elite athletes that we program for. If we don't have a program already designed, that's perfect to start you on. We will write a bespoke program for you at no extra cost. We prescribe the workouts in an app, and we can see when you're logging in and when you're completing your workouts, etc. And again, we can check in and keep you accountable. Most people are more likely to do something if someone's checking in on them and asking if they've done what they said they were going to do. So everything's done on an app. We can check in with you. Again, it's £30 a month. It is like having a personal trainer for an absolute fraction of the price. People contact us daily about our programming. I've had phone calls this afternoon of people. Adam, my partner, he heads up the training side of the business, and his phone is constant. He's always got people on the phone asking him questions and things like that. So it's not like you're just given a program and left to your own devices. You can absolutely use our expertise and our advice and run things by us, or call us if you're having a wobble. And it's just having another person or two in your corner, dragging you back on track when you're falling off, telling you you're doing fantastic when you're beating yourself up, and lots of other weird and wonderful bits of advice that we end up giving to people along the way. I think, obviously it's my business, so I'm going to plug it, but £30 a month for someone to manage your diet, your habits, and to support you through a really, really difficult process, because it is hard. It is hard changing habits that you've had forever. I think £30 a bargain, and for the expertise you get off Trav, for the training side of things, I'll do more of the beginnery type stuff for people, but as you progress through, the expertise you get from him, he's absolutely the best in the business, and I have no shame in saying that. He's a one-off, and his approach to people and how he manages to coach and motivate people is fantastic. So you could have both of us on your side for 60 quid a month. It's an absolute bargain, and it will be life-changing, and it sounds dead cheesy. Our clients, our existing clients, would tell you, if you were in the same room as them, how their lives have changed for the better through starting our plans, and becoming friends of ours, and spending more time around us and us around them, etc. It goes both ways. I hope I answered all of your questions that you've been sending through. If I've missed anything, please let me know, but that's our programs in a nutshell. If you want to take a look at the sign up process, you can look at www.xxxpersonaltraining.com, and if you click book a session, all of the memberships will come up. The reason why our packages are priced so low is because we want it to be accessible for as many people as possible. Helping people is our main focus. Yeah, we want to earn a living off it, but helping as many people as possible is what we're passionate about. So it's cheap compared to other things you would buy in your life for that price, and for the value that you would get. And the training doesn't have a minimum sign up either. You could try it for a month and then drop off program. You could try it for a couple of months and then pause it if you're too busy, etc. It's dead flexible. So give it some thought. Check the website out. Check out our social media pages and see if we're the right fit for you as coaches. And if we are, get in touch, and we'll help you get started.